Welcome to Jablam Hockey, folks. We're your hosts of Jablam Hockey, of course. I'm Peter Bojaranov. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I'm with
Connor Roundtree. You can find me at Twitter at The Sport Tree.
And of course, you can always follow us at Jablam Hockey and go to our website, jablamhockey.com. Yes, Connor, we're recording this obviously on Tuesday night, is it?
Yes, sir.
And the Leafs finally scored. It's 1-0 Leafs over the Capitals, I think.
Yep, 1-0, and it looks... Is that Shoshnikov? Yep. Wow.
No, Shoshnikov's in the lineup tonight?
Number 28, yeah.
No, 28 is Connor Brown. Shoshnikov is a different number because they switched up the numbers for Marleau is number 12 now.
Yep.
And vice versa, how the team goes. All right. Anyways, let's get into the show. Before we get to trending now, Connor, I'm a little happy right now.
Yeah, why are you so happy, Peter?
Because I've got these tickets.
Jealous.
Yeah. So I'm going to go see my buddy Joey in Boston, and I'm going to go see apparently next Thursday, not this Thursday, October 26th, see the Sharks and the Bruins.
Well, it's 2 days after my birthday. If you wanted to be a nice guy. So invitation.
Give Connor a happy birthday next week. All right. Let's get right into trending now. Connor, what's going on with everybody being excited this week that Erik Karlsson is back?
Yeah, Erik Karlsson's back on the ice tonight for the Ottawa Senators, so that's big news for the Sens. But Peter, tonight we're going to be team isoing the New Jersey Devils, so I think it's only fair to start in New York, New Jersey, at the New York Jets game this past Sunday. Taylor Hall was walking down the sideline and dodged a photo, and he said on his Twitter, "Me trying to hide my picture face." Former teammate Jordan Eberle, now living on Long Island, said, "You might want to think about getting some Tide to Go on those pants." As you can see, Hall's pants have quite the stain on them in the picture. And then Hall goes, simply, "When are you going to score?" Now, that's a low blow.
That is a low blow. You got to prep me on these. I didn't even get to see this picture. So we're going to put the picture on Twitter and hopefully on our website as well. I got to check out this picture to see this. But Connor, let me ask you.
It's a pretty big stain there. It looks like it looks like fry grease.
Ooh,
Coach won't be happy with that.
That's pretty bad. I was just looking at how weird style his pants were actually. But do you think that Taylor Hall and Eberle have weekly meetings, dinners, since they're not too far away, and talk about how hard it was being in Edmonton those years?
Oh, I think both of them might still be thinking about how hard it is to be in their current organizations. I know the Devils are clearly off to a very hard start, one of the premier scoring teams in the league, at least to this point, and then the Islanders are struggling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe they get together and have a pity party. It wouldn't surprise me.
You know, and then they get, like we do with our guests, they get Yakubov on Skype.
Yeah, who knows?
What else you got?
And one last thing, Mitch Marner, Leafs Nation, calm down. He's been demoted to the fourth line. I'm sure everybody already knows that. But, hey, Babcock did it with Willie Nylander last year. It worked out in spades. It's not the end of the world. And it's not like he's going to be playing with subpar talent either. Connor Brown, who just scored tonight, is on that line as well. He's got Dominic Moore mentoring him on that line, so I think it's a good play for the Leafs, and he still gets power play minutes.
Exactly. He's still going to get the minutes that he's most valuable at, and that's with the man advantage. And you know what? It does hurt me a little bit because I hate seeing a talented player playing with a guy like Matt Martin.
Yeah, well, I mean, Matt Martin is he causes a turnover or two. But at least, Marner and him got a lot of chemistry. You see all those gifs of them doing that weird creepy finger thing?
The
Creepy finger thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that with you.
No.
All right, welcome to this week's Team ISO segment. Of course, this is where we go into the blogospheres and we get a better opinion of people who are actually team blogging about their specific teams. Welcome back to the show from last year. It's Alex Chabansi, and he is a writer and editor at Devil's Army blog, right, Alex?
Yep, that's correct.
Perfect. And we can find you on Twitter?
Yep, _CHAUVANCY 23.
So that's A_Chavancy23.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's get right into it. And before we get into the super exciting young rookies, let's go to the guy who I think stole the show in the game against the Leafs last week, and that's Corey Schneider. Is it his year maybe to finally get into that Vezina contendership era?
Just based off the way the season started, I would definitely say he's gonna. I mean, he should have been there previously, but I think right now, coming into tonight's game, he was rocking like a .945 save percentage or somewhere around there. Yeah, I think this year I would, especially if the Devils end up being a playoff team, he should definitely be in the consideration, especially if he finishes around his career averages of, say, .920, .922, around there. But so far he's been really good to start the season, and he's a big reason why the Devils are off to a 4-1 start.
Perfect. I'm just looking at my timers, and I didn't get it working, but it's all right. Connor, let's get right into the top players that are these rookies.
Yeah, well, for me, it's all going to start at the back end, and it starts with last year's Hobey Baker winner. If you don't know what the Hobey Baker is, everyone at home, it's the best player in college hockey. It is Will Butcher. Now, when he signed with the Devils, he was highly touted as a power play specialist, and he's lived up to that expectation with 8 points in the first 5 games coming in to tonight. Do you think he has the skill set and the confidence to continue at this pace?
Yeah, for sure. We could actually add another point to his 9 points tonight. He got an assist on the Devils' first goal. So he's been tremendous, a lot better than I expected. I actually thought maybe making the transition from the NCAA to the NHL would be a little difficult at first, but it's been basically seamless for him. He's been the Devils' best offensive defenseman so far, and as far as like quarterbacking their power play, he's just had a huge difference for them. He's also made really nice defensive plays. It might not show up in the stat sheet, but he's blocking shots. He's in the right defensive position. He's been helping the Devils get the puck out of their own end. So I've been really impressed what I've seen with him just in these first 5-6 games. So
statistically speaking, point-wise, where do you think he'll finish at this end of the season?
Well, I think it's hard to imagine him finishing at the rate he is right now, but I think if he keeps getting a solid power play time, and if they keep using him in offensive roles, which they've been using him for a lot, I think it'd be fair to say maybe somewhere in the 30 to 40 point range to end the season, which would be great for a rookie defenseman.
Yeah, well, shifting from defense down the middle of the ice, you got to talk about Nico Hischier. He is the new centerman. Is he the face of the franchise now in New Jersey, or is there still some debate there who the next face of the franchise will be?
He's definitely that building block for the Devils going forward. I think right now, just based off what he's done previously in his career, it'd probably be Taylor Hall. But as far as like prospects go, there isn't anyone better in the Devils system right now than Nico Hischier, and he's shown it through the preseason. He had a great preseason. And he hasn't scored a goal yet, but he's doing all the right things, and he's been noticeable on ice. So, yeah, he's definitely the face of this franchise for, like, at least the next 5 to 10 years.
Before we get into the next player, I was just wondering about Hischier. He only has the 2 assists, and I guess we're going to mention Bratt in a second here. But why is Bratt getting a little bit more ice time and putting up a lot more points than Hischier so far?
I think just... It might not seem like a big difference, but Bratt does have a year ahead of Nico in his development. He played a year in the first league, not the Swedish elite league, but the league under that last year. Mm-hmm. And he's actually been the biggest surprise for me as far as the Devils' young players who made the team. I wasn't expecting him to come in and contribute the way he has this early, but he's probably been the Devils' at least their second best rookie up front to start the season. He's getting play time in all situations, power play, penalty kill. John Hines really trusts him to use him in any situation, which is impressive for a 19-year-old. So there's no like one specific reason why he's racking up the points more than Nico Hischier right now. I think he's just making the most of his situation.
Now, Alex, Peter and I are going to be talking a little bit of junior hockey later in this episode, and we're right by Mississauga here in Toronto, and the Steelheads have a guy Michael McLeod, the Devils drafted him back in 2016. I'm sure you know, 12th overall. Last season, he led Mississauga in points and then scored 27 points in just 20 playoff games. And he said, I've gotten faster, my shot has gotten a lot better, and I feel like I've got the OHL figured out. He sounds like he's ready for the NHL. How much more development do you think he needs before he's NHL ready?
Well, he just actually had surgery at the end of last week for a torn meniscus in his left knee, which he suffered towards the in one of the Devils' final preseason games. So that might put him back a little bit. But I actually wasn't too impressed with him this preseason. I was expecting a little more from him and thought he would have a better chance at making the squad, say, than like a Jesper Bratt. But I think this 1 year, he definitely needs the year back in Mississauga. And then I would expect him to be competing for a regular spot in the NHL next season with maybe some AHL seasoning. But he's not too far off. Definitely at least 1 more year, I think, before the Devils give him a really good shot at making the final roster.
All right, and before we let you go, 2 quick questions. Number 1, is Taylor Hall not finding a good rhythm with the Devils? Why isn't he putting up points like he used to? Or is he just finding a better two-way playing ground right now, trying to find his defensive skills?
Yeah, I've seen that from Devils fans too, that say like maybe Taylor Hall, he's not producing at the rate he was in Edmonton, but they have been using him in some defensive situations. I mean, he's definitely, I've noticed his two-way play a lot more here in New Jersey, although I never really watched Edmonton too much, so I can't say what his play was like back then. But yeah, the point totals, last year they were just a really bad team, so I don't know if you can really put that on Taylor Hall. But this year he's been creating chances. He's just getting a bit unlucky right now. Coming into tonight's game, he had like 20 shots and just 1 goal. So eventually your shooting percentage will go up as you keep shooting the puck on net, and the goals will start coming. So, and he's playing with some highly skilled players. Like tonight they have him with Nico Heischer and Drew Stafford. So and he's getting power play time. So I don't think Devils fans should be too worried about his production. He's been doing all the right things, and I think if he just keeps playing the way he is, the points will start coming.
All right, and last but not least, where do you think the Devils will end up at the end of the season, going into the playoffs maybe?
Well, it's too early to be talking about playoffs with the Devils, but I mean, I've been really impressed with them to start the season, especially tonight against Tampa, who has a lot of firepower. And I don't know, the Devils, the biggest issue for them, and this was the issue coming into the season, is going to be their defense. They have some nice young players like Steve Santini and Will Butcher who are contributing solid minutes for them, but overall it's not that deep a group. They're still working in some other younger guys, and then we're still trying to see if Andy Green still has what he used to have. He had a bit of a rough season last year. He's off to a good start this season. Damon Severson's really the only kind of bona fide two-way defenseman back there. And once I think guys like Mirko Mueller and Butcher and Steve Santini get more playtime and more experience, it'll help them as the season goes along. But that'll be my biggest concern for the Devils. If they want to make the playoffs, they're going to need their defense to be solid, because so far into the season, they haven't had any trouble scoring goals. I mean, they're, I think, at least top 5, if not the highest scoring team in the league through the first 5 games. So scoring goals doesn't seem to be an issue, but if they can keep their defense solid and not let as many pucks get to Corey Schneider, it'll go a long way for them making the playoffs. But still too early to be thinking about that for sure.
So if you had to put a number where they end up, maybe at least in the Metropolitan, where do you think they fall?
I think so. Based off what the Atlantic Division looks like right now, I think the Metropolitan will get 5 teams into the playoffs. And I think probably have the Devils at around the 6th or 7th position. That division is just so competitive between the Penguins, the Blue Jackets, the Capitals, and then you have young and up and coming teams like Carolina and the Devils, who will be fighting for spots too. So I think before the season started, I had the Devils pegged around like 80 to 82 points. Based off the way they're playing right now, maybe it'll be a little higher than that. But I think 6th or 7th would probably be a good spot, just based on the way how competitive that division is with Crosby and Ovechkin and everyone else.
Perfect. Thanks again for coming on the show, Alex. Again, we will tweet that out and we will put it on our episode page on jablamhockey.com, your info and contact info. And good luck. The Devils have been playing really well so far.
I wasn't expecting it. I had them coming right at the bottom of the Metro, and I'm kicking myself right now. I'm thankful it's still early in the year.
Yeah, I had them a little bit higher, but still just outside of the playoffs. So good luck with the Devils there, Alex.
Yep. Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we're a month into the season, and Peter and I have your fantasy up and down. Some players that you should add, and some players that you should get rid of. Now, starting on forward, I'll take the first one. It's gotta be pretty nice to play with Patrick Kane. I mean, it's gotta have its perks. Ryan Hartman is a guy that you have to pick up. At any moment, Kane can feed you the puck and he could be wide open, or you could just pass him the puck and he can score. Hartman's proved that he's got 8 points through the first couple games here, 6 of those assists, and he's only owned in 37% of leagues on Yahoo. So if he is available, he is a good third left winger to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so too. I hate Dustin Brown, as a lot of people know, but fantasy-wise, he's a good help too.
He's off to a good start. I can't stand Dustin Brown either. One of my favorite clips ever around hockey is when he misses his mouth with a water bottle. Remember that?
Oh my god! I actually love that one.
It proved his IQ. It proved his IQ.
Yeah. And that year, I think it was the second run they went to the playoffs and they won the cup. It seemed like they just didn't want to call anything against him. It's just like, yeah, he can give headshots and stuff, and then still get put up. Whatever. Let's go on.
And another forward, Namesnikov. Down in Tampa Bay, the kid is on fire. 2 goals, 4 assists entering tonight. Only 43% owned on Yahoo Fantasy. Remember, he gets power play minutes with Steven Stamkos. A couple of his goals coming this year by him just literally standing in front of the net and tipping in Stamkos shots. We all know Stamkos is an amazing shot and he can score. So if you want some power play points and you need some goals, that kid is someone to pick up.
Little Vlad. I don't know if he can stand tall, hard in front of net like a guy like Holmstrom could, but so far he's doing it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just skill with the stick in front of that, and he's potting the pucks in. And now defensively, Peter, who would you like to pick up? Who would you like to see on your defense?
If I could go with anybody, I got to go with Oli Mata. He had a good rookie season. And then didn't look good at all, like maybe last year, especially in the playoffs for the Pens. Especially the previous year, he was like invisible in the back end. But I think he'd be a good pickup.
Yeah, well, Oli Mata is my pick too. 29 points in that rookie season. Obviously been on the decline since. And in the preseason this year, he said it himself. He's like, I have the ability to be a top-end elite defenseman. I just haven't played up to that. Well, he started off pretty darn good, I guess you could say. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points, and he's only 44% owned. He's playing with Justin Schultz, so that's a lot of offense potential. Those guys are both fiery guys, both have accurate wrist shots, and they both get a lot of power play minutes, and they play together on the power play too, at least as of right now. So if you want some points offensively from a defenseman, Oli Mata's your guy.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of ice time, and he's got a lot to prove. And it was shocking. I thought it was very shocking when the Pens actually locked him up for a couple number of years when he wasn't looking so good the last year and a half.
Well, that's just good GM-ship right there. And now, Peter, I didn't think I'd be saying this one. Another pickup out of Las Vegas. No, not a scoring forward, not some young talent you haven't heard of. This is Malcolm Subban. He's been bounced around the league, up and down in Boston for a while. Gets his chance, his first NHL chance, truly, against Boston after they put him on waivers. Wins the game 3-1, beats his old team, gotta feel great. And now with Marc-Andre Fleury out with post-concussion-like symptoms, we don't know if Fleury will be back in a month. We don't know if he'll be back till the end of the season. So Malcolm Subban, if he can keep it up, that's somebody that you're going to want because he's a legitimate starting goaltender, at least right now in fantasy.
Yeah, get him up. Get him now as soon as you can because he's going to be taken for sure. As soon as I heard about him playing for the Golden Knights, and Fleury being out, they don't know when. He could be back in a couple of weeks. We don't know. But he will be getting the long run on the, in between the pipes for the Golden Knights. So.
For sure, he's their best option. And just a side note there, he's only 26% owned in Yahoo League. So if you're in a Yahoo League and you got some goaltending depth issues, go after him. Because I know I could have got him, and I have some big-time depth issues, and I'm kicking myself right now.
Yeah, I've got way too many centers. I got to move on, pick up a left winger. I was thinking about maybe Lucic and stuff like that, because he'll give you some penalty minutes, but the Oilers are a little bit struggling right now.
A little bit struggling right now. Well, players to drop.
Yeah.
Peter, who would you drop? Anyone on Edmonton or elsewhere?
Oh, man. Right now, there's a few guys that I'm not too sure of, like even maybe some vets. Maybe somebody from the Oilers right now and pick up one of those guys from the Devils.
Yeah, one of the young kids. For me, I'll look from center ice and around the center iceman in Edmonton. Leon Draisaitl's now on the IR, so you got to either drop him or put him on your IR, pick up somebody, and then someone you got to just get off your team, Rick Nash. He's got 1 goal to start the season. The only goal scoring realistically coming from these guys, the Rangers, is Mika Zibanejad. He's got 5 goals, and he did that in the first couple of games, and he's been dry since. Mm-hmm. The Rangers are just getting, they got a couple tonight, but they've been getting bullied in the first couple of weeks here, so maybe they'll be able to right this ship. Who knows?
Yeah, and Connor will have a blog about his fantasy up and down picks for you on jablamhockey.com, so check out that blog. It'll be out soon, if it's not out already. All right, let's move on to the Jablam Junior Hockey update. So just some quick updates. Leading the leagues in the OHL, first in the West is the Sarnia Sting, 9-1. On the East, it's the Barrie Colts, 7-1, as well as the Peterborough Petes with the same. The Owen Sound Attack, of course. Nick Suzuki is leading in terms of points, 7 goals, 18 points, and his defensive partner, Sean Druzy, 17 points. Best rookie right now is Andrei Svechnikov for the Barrie Colts. All right, moving to the Q. The Moncton Wildcats are killing the league right now early, 8-1-2, and the Armada are not far behind, just have played a few less games, 7-1. Among the Wildcats, he's leading the league. It's Mika Tsier with 10 goals, 19 points so far, last time I checked. And on the Halifax Mooseheads, not too far behind. And as we're recording this show, Philip Zadina scored 2 more goals, so he was tied with Tsier, but now it's 21. And Maxime Fortier with 18 points. And then we go to the West in the Western Hockey League. The Victoria Royals, 8-1-1. Portland Winterhawks and the Swift Current Broncos, both 8-1. Destroying the league and in junior hockey right now for Swift Current is Tyler Steenbergen. 16 goals.
Yeah. Say Steenbergen 16 5 times fast. You can't do it. You can't be scoring 16 goals when you got a name like that.
In like about 10 games. It's crazy. 16 goals, 25 points. Just dynamite. Other guys also playing pretty well from the Brandon Wheat Kings, I believe, is Ty Lewis, 25 points as well. And Philip Matthew from Victoria, 24 points. Last time I checked, those are the points for those kids. So we'll give you another update for the Jablam Junior Hockey update next month. But that's it for this week. All right.
Peter, what is it with all these young Russians coming in and dominating the CHL these days? You just said your top rookie, on at least out in the queue, it's a Russian kid.
Well, I think they're noticing a lot of trends now, and it's been for a few years now, even starting with like Galchenyuk and Yakupov when they were there on the Sting as well. They are coming in and they want to conform to the NHL and how they play the game because of the smaller ice.
Oh, the North American style.
Yeah, the North American style. So they want to come here maybe at least a year or two before they can get drafted to the NHL just to get ready and play with the best players in the world. You know, the KHL is a great league. It's exciting. It's offensive. But it's very different. Bigger ice, but the style is very, compared to the NHL, I would say maybe lackadaisical a little bit. It's a little bit lighter, not so as physical, but at times it just seems slower. The pace seems a little bit slower. Maybe it has to do with the larger ice. I don't know. But it is a little bit slower paced. And then they have some great plays where they speed up a bit here and there. but it's not that up tempo where it's 60 minutes of crazy action.
Well, you got our inside report from Peter there on Jablam's Junior update.
All right, Saturday's picks. Before we get into games we're going to recommend, and of course remember that we will always tweet out our new Saturday's picks Friday at Jablam Hockey, and hopefully update that as well on jablamhockey.com. But before we get into that, we will review how we did last week. Connor, did you check out how we did last week?
It's getting a little weird.
It ended up being exactly 9-5 each. And I think the difference was that I was going for the long shots that were kind of on fire. So I won with New Jersey, and then I lost with Colorado because he went more with...
I went with the home sturdy picks. I thought that's only a matter of time before the Rangers get going, in my opinion. On the Madison Square Garden is one of the most polarizing arenas to go in and try to win as a visitor. The crowd is into it. It's the most famous arena on planet Earth, arguably. Mm-hmm. And I figured that sooner or later the Rangers would bust out, and then I just figured Dallas at home over Colorado. I see the strength. I saw the matchup. I see how Dallas can move the puck really quick from the defensive to the forwards. So that's why I went with the Stars there.
Yeah. So we went 9-5, and then because we tied last week and it was the first week and we weren't sure of some picks, it was 8-8. So we're both 17-13 after the first 2 weeks. What do you have looking into this weekend?
Well, you can see me. I'm in my Rangers jersey. I figured maybe this week they'll give me luck. They're playing on home ice again, so back in MSG, a primetime game, 12:30, first afternoon game on a Saturday this season. It's going to be big, and it's the Predators coming into town. So a team that is solid, but we haven't seen the best of them. We haven't seen the best of the Rangers, so something's got to give here. So that game, I'm taking the Rangers. And then for another game to look at, Peter, our first Battle of Ontario. How do you feel about that?
I'm really excited. Both teams are looking good so far early. As of we're recording, the Leafs are now 5-1-0 after they beat the Caps. And the Sens, I believe, are 3-0-2, so they're undefeated in regulation. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you, how timely is it to be a Senators fan and have Erik Karlsson coming back just in time for the first game of the Battle of Ontario?
Yeah, that's huge. I'm in a toss-up right now because my team playing the Sens, and both teams are playing really well right now. You add in Karlsson, it's going to be an amazing game to watch. That's for sure. That's one of my games to watch for sure. And it's going to be, I think I might flip the coin on this one.
Well, it's two teams that are hot in two different styles. Craig Anderson is playing right in the top 5 goaltenders in the NHL right now, and that's without Karlsson in the lineup. Well, again, Karlsson's first game back was this Tuesday evening. So they've been able to keep the puck out of the net without Karlsson. And the Leafs, on the other hand, Freddie Anderson posted a shutout tonight, and his save percentage is still below 900. He's sitting at an 899. So that kind of tells you he posted a shutout, stopped everything, and he's still struggling. So statistically, he's still struggling. So it's going to be Leafs scoring power versus the Senators defense. And they say defense wins championships, but I just feel the Leafs might be able to squeak out of there with a win. Just some sort of magical play from Austin Matthews.
Well, you never know sometimes, especially with these Maple Leafs. It's still toss-up because they're still very young. Even in the game that we were watching tonight, we totally thought it was going to be like a 5-4 game versus the Capitals. A lot of times they just missed on fanning the puck or missing the net. So if the puck starts going the right way, a lot of pucks could go in. But if they don't again, then it could be a small scoring game again.
It could be a low scoring game, but I'm going to stick with my guns here. Austin Matthews, you remember last year's first game in Ottawa, 4 goals, first game of the season. So he's going back for the first game of the 2017 season, and I like him. But that is the Battle of Ontario. Everyone wants to hear that talk. The game of the day, however, 7 p.m., the Pittsburgh Penguins travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Lightning. Peter, what are your thoughts on that matchup? Because I'm ready for it.
Okay, well, I do expect as well, that's going to be the game to watch for sure on Saturday. There's some other matchups, like I think the Kings and the Blue Jackets in Columbus is a good game because both teams are actually playing fairly well right now. But I'm not really a fan of either one, I would say. I love watching Tampa and Pittsburgh. They're still in the top echelon, especially Tampa Bay might have a bad season last year, but I'm fully expecting them to turn around. I know you're not a big fan of Vasilevsky. I am. Mr. Number 88, I expect him to have a decent season this year, and it'll be a good game, no matter what.
I think he'll have a decent season, but more accredited to the team in front of him. He's a young goalie. He's still learning. It's his first year starting in Tampa Bay. It's tough to say that there's pressure around the team in Florida, but there is some pressure, I feel, within that organization to get over that hump like they did in 2004. Maybe not win a cup, but at least get back to the cup final, because obviously there was a lot of disappointment in the previous couple of years, and I just don't think Vasilevsky is the goaltender that can push them over. Obviously, Ben Bishop wasn't, so maybe Vasilevsky can prove me wrong, but I gotta like the Penguins in that one. Just their scoring, their depth. Matt Murray eventually is going to come alive. And, well, just another game because it's the last one. That jersey right there. The Blues are heading to Las Vegas, 10:30 p.m. That's the late game on Saturday. Who do you like there?
Before we get into that game, I will pick the Lightning to beat the Pens in that game. But Golden Knights and the Blues are still playing fairly well, even though they've got a lot of injuries. I'm going to go with the favorite right now, and that is the Golden Knights. They just have so much momentum, and the team has just come together so well so early that I think they are still favorited. And again, Subban's young.
That's what I was going to say.
That's the question mark. Can Subban now temporarily be that number one that they need?
Well, I think right now, yes. I think after being able to beat, I was a goaltender that was in a situation where I moved cities and I changed teams, and I actually had the opportunity to eliminate my former team from the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it's a great feeling when there's a team that you feel that wronged you in a way, and you can go out and just give them a little smack. And that's what Subban did against Boston. That was so good for his confidence. So I think with how hot these Vegas Knights have been playing, how young they are, the tenacity, and there's like when you watch them, there's just something going on with that team. And I think Malcolm Subban might even bring more into that mix because he's still a young, fiery tender. So I'm going to take the Golden Knights too.
Yeah, I still feel that their defense and everything isn't perfect. There's a couple games, especially early on, that Fleury saved their butts and stole wins for them. So I don't know if Subban can do that yet.
Well, I don't think he can do it for a long duration, but for the next, let's call it 3 to 4 games, I'd expect a very sharp Malcolm Subban in the pipes for the Golden Knights.
All right, we'll see. Do you have a poll you want to mention, Connor?
Yes, I do. Make sure you go check out Jablam Hockey, our Twitter poll right now. Currently talking about the NHL veterans. Which one would you like to pick up? We got Dustin Brown at the bottom. We beat up on Dustin Brown a little bit today.
And we will next week.
Yeah, because we just don't like him. He only got 5% of the vote. Henrik Zetterberg came in at, second place with 29% of the vote. And then we had a tie for first place. Me personally, I like Derek Brassard. I think he's a guy that can get dirty in the corners when you need him. Yes, he's had some injury trouble, but he's a veteran. He can win faceoffs and he can score. And then tied with him is Matt Duchene. And the main reason that I'm going with Brassard over Duchene is just I don't like what Duchene is bringing to the locker room right now in Colorado. I still think he's talented, and when he gets moved, he'll definitely get points, but from a veteran presence, that's not the kind of veteran presence you want on your team. But that's just my opinion, so make sure you go check out the poll. Make your pick now before the poll ends. And who knows, prove me wrong.
And use the hashtags, hashtag Jablam Hockey, hashtag Jablam, or hashtag JHockey. I was also more leaning to Brassard. I had him on my team. I wasn't sure what to do. He's in the middle tween there right now. But again, there's so many guys on the Senators that are underrated. Even Stone.
I think he's underrated.
Brassard, and there's another guy I'm missing. I think it's Hoffman. Yeah. It just seems that a lot of people aren't talking enough about, especially those three Senators.
Well, it almost seems like everybody within the Ottawa circle, I got some family that lives in Ottawa, and everybody in Ottawa talks about them too much, and then outside of Ottawa, there's almost no mention. Are you kidding me? Hoffman had over 30 goals last year. I am happy, though, they got rid of who I did think was overrated. Curtis Lazar. Didn't like him.
Yeah.
Glad he's gone.
And how about moving the defense, or actually losing the defenseman in terms of the Golden Knights and then the shift with you know who?
Yeah, I mean, with everyone moving around, I'm shocked that with how the defensive core on that team has changed, how well Craig Anderson was able to start this season. I did not think he was going to come out like this, especially with Karlsson down. When arguably Dion Phaneuf is your best defenseman, yeah, I mean, you're not expecting much. Chris Weidman came in. He stepped up huge, the younger Chris Weidman, that is. And then Cody Ceci, again, another young defenseman that stepped up huge in the absence of Erik Karlsson. But with Karlsson back in the lineup, this defense could be a scary shutdown.
Yeah, I was totally blanking on Mark Methot with the whole thing. And again, that's one of the huge reasons why the NHL is doing the crackdown on the slashing was the Crosby, Methot slash, and a few of the other ones.
Nasty.
But, I don't know if Ottawa's defense can fill the void of Methot, and I guess a lot of fans still think Phaneuf might be overrated or at least overpaid for how they put him in there.
You know what? This is great. Saturday night, prime time, hockey night in Canada. Leafs in Ottawa. Austin Matthews 2.0 question mark. Dion Phaneuf versus the Leafs. Yes, he's overpaid. I can't stand Dion Phaneuf. I think he's good locker room presence. He just skates so awkwardly on the ice. He looks like he's lost a step, and I think the Leafs are just going to be able to bounce around them. Pucks chip all around the boards, get the puck in deep, and try to get some goals past that hot Craig Anderson. But what a good Saturday night matchup we have.
For sure. Stay tuned and watch that game. It's a great one. All right. Before we go, I'd like to give a thank you on this week's episode to Jason Gerard. He's my buddy. You can follow him on Twitter at JXGerard, so JXGERARD. He's the guy who built the new website. So it looks good. It looks fresh. It's so much
sharp.
So much easier to use too, especially for us putting our episodes and blogs on there. So I love it. It's really cool. So check out jablamhockey.com, and if you want, give a shout out to Jason on his Twitter account. All right, for next week's episode, we are going to be team ISOing the LA Kings.
Dustin Brown, baby.
Yeah. All right. And then we'll have a new friendly bet. Connor, what are we going to be betting, maybe? You don't remember? All right. It's Austin Matthews. We're going to bet at that point how many goals Austin Matthews will have. One of us will maybe go up and one of us maybe go down and around.
I thought the bet was going to be how many times we were going to insult Dustin Brown next week, because I have a feeling a Kings episode, we might just have to name that one Down Goes Brown, because he might get torn into a little bit.
Yep, and then we'll also have a compare, and stay tuned for that. It's going to be 1 minute versus Connor and I, one or two players or teams. And we bicker on who is better, a power forward, a player, defenseman, or even manager. All right, check out next week's episode and we'll hog all that for you. And again, remember, go to our website, jablamhockey.com, check out our new episodes, our blogs, and everything to go with that. All of our award predictions and our season predictions are out there. Check them out. We've got some great blogs.
Some hot takes.
Exactly.
And fun reads.
Yep, and again on Twitter, at Jablam Hockey. See y'all next week.